Yeah, good to see you as well, man. Hey, one of these days we'll see each other in person. But you being the man of many talents and the man of great travel, how did you, the brother of the melanin, end up in El Salvador? So I know that you're in El
Yeah,
Salvador right now. You're going for the inauguration. Can you tell us about that whole experience?
yeah, it's a pretty crazy story, man. I've been in El Salvador for the last 5 days. I'm going to be here for 2 more days. A couple of months ago, I was contacted by a lady I know who's very well known in the Bitcoin space. I don't know if you know, El Salvador is the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. They did that back in, I want to say, 2019. And so there's this whole Bitcoin economy that is growing over here in this small country of 6 million people. Of course, Nayib
Wow.
Bukele, the president, he's also turned the country around massively. It's gone from being the murder capital of the world to being the safest country in the Americas, I believe. I think the homicide rate is now below that of the USA, even. So he's cut down the violent crime by over 95% in a matter of years, which is crazy. And he's got a 92% approval rating right here in the country. And I'll tell you that this is real. I've been in the country for 5 days and the people freaking love him here. And so, yeah, Stacy offered me an invitation. She works, she's very close to the president. And he actually follows me online and has interacted with quite a few of my posts. So she asked me if I'd be around and be able to come to the inauguration. And I was like, heck yeah, I'd love to come. And I figured if I'm going to come, let me not just come for 2 days. Let me spend a week in the country. So I'd never been to the country before. So I wanted to come and check it out, really see what's going on. And yeah, tomorrow I'll be going to the inauguration. Fingers crossed I'll get a chance to meet the president as well as some other really cool people. There's going to be a lot of heads of state there. There's going to be a lot of very interesting and influential people there. And honestly, it's an honor to do it. My career has been crazy over these last few years. I mean, I've just kind of keep ending up meeting all sorts of awesome people all over the world and getting these random but cool opportunities. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. You and I are very similar in ways, and we're very different in life experience, dude. I have never been. I think I've only been to like two other countries in my whole life, and
Mm.
I'm terrified to just go to a country, that I've never been to. I mean, you even have lived in multiple countries. You come to the United States all the time. You're in the UK. I mean, there's so many things that you do. Can you just explain what that feels like to be so well traveled and literally virtually have minimal fear?
Yeah, sure. That's an interesting question, man. We've all got a really different background in this regard. El Salvador is actually my 44th country that I've been to. There's many countries I've been to dozens and dozens of times, so I could be at 100 if I really tried. But I've been to 44 different countries. I was born in England. My family background is originally from Nigeria, but as you may know, I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And when I was there, I also went to an American school. Majority of my audience these days is American. I spend a ton of time in the US. I spend more time in the US than I do in the UK. But for my entire life, man, I've been traveling. I'd say probably by the age of 5, I would have been to probably at least 5 or 6 different countries. And then by the time I got into my teens, I would have been over a dozen. And then in my 20s and 30s, that number just keeps on increasing. It's hard to say because it's kind of just been a normal part of my life. I've been traveling internationally by myself since I was 11 years old. After 5th grade in Saudi Arabia, I went to boarding school in the UK. So I still lived in Saudi Arabia. My parents were still in Saudi Arabia, but 3 times a year, I was in the UK. I was flying back and forth between these countries. And so I'm 37 years old now. So I've been traveling internationally by myself for about 26 years at this point. Just like when you do anything a lot, any fear or trepidation that you might have, it tends to disappear and dissipate. And for me, I love traveling. I love seeing that, the world is a big place. Every time I look at a map or a globe, I just get fascinated and I'm looking at all the different places I want to go to and that I want to visit. And there's just so many different places and people and cultures and scenery and languages and just cool things to learn from traveling and visiting other places. And there's just no substitute to get to know a place than being there. You could tell someone all day long about what the USA is like, but if someone has never stepped foot in the country, they're not going to have a really accurate picture. I could describe to you what Saudi Arabia is like or what Dubai is like or what Nigeria is like. But unless you go there and you kind of just get a sense of it and you live it, you're never going to really have a totally accurate picture. And I find that travel always expands people's minds, and it gives you an appreciation both of your own country and also of other places.